One of the saddest things to happen over the last week, ever since Donald Trump got banned from just about every social media platform in existence, is the fact that we got to see firsthand, in real time, how ignorant the American public truly is. That's what we've seen play itself out, and it's sad, and honestly, it's a bit pathetic. And notice I said the word ignorant. Ignorant implies a lack of knowledge on a subject, not stupid. But they are ignorant about what freedom of speech actually is and what it applies to. We have seen Republicans, big and small, from your neighbor on Facebook to members of Congress out there telling us that Donald Trump, by being banned from Twitter, has had his free speech rights revoked. That's not how this works. Twitter is not the government. Facebook is not the government. They are a private company, and Republicans have been going to court for years arguing that private companies like Twitter and Facebook should have the right to determine which people they want to serve with their service or business. They did. I mean, y'all argued this in front of the Supreme Court, for God's sakes, and you won. You won the case that said businesses can discriminate against people. And you were happy about it. You celebrated this until suddenly you became the ones that these businesses were discriminating against, right? And then, oh my God, no, this isn't what we want. We wanted them to not serve gay people wedding cakes. Oh no. But here's the thing. Nobody is being purged, by the way, from these social media outlets for their conservative views. That's not even what's happening. What's happening is that Donald Trump violated the First Amendment by inciting violence. That is what many of these other accounts did as well. That is what was taking place all over on Parlor. Now, you may disagree. You may think that, oh, if they do this, it's a slippery slope. They could start banning voices on the left. That's an argument for a different day. And it's an argument that personally, I don't know that I buy into really, because they've had the authority and the ability to do that since day one. And by the way, they've been doing it. But only when it could cause violence in the United States. But again, they don't even have to have that caveat. They don't have to have that caveat of, oh, well, it's not First Amendment speech because he was inciting violence and that is not protected speech, because they're not government entities. The government cannot limit your speech unless, of course, it falls under those guidelines that are not protected by the First Amendment. But too many people don't seem to understand this. And those members of Congress who are out there pushing this conspiracy theory that Donald Trump is having his free speech rights taken away from him, they know the truth. I have to believe they know the truth. But they also know that the state of education here in the United States is so ridiculously pathetic that people aren't fully taught what these amendments mean and who they even apply to. Twitter is not a government entity. Twitter does not have to abide by the First Amendment. And you can thank Republicans for making that happen. But we need to, after all this is done, take a better look at ourselves, take a better look at our education system, and realize that we do have a problem of a lack of education here in the United States. An ignorance problem. And it is on full display right now. We have to do better. We have to learn more as a population so that we stop having these ridiculous arguments. This is not a legal argument to be had at all about Trump getting banned from Twitter. You could argue that it's a moral argument, a moral debate that we should have. Should they be able to do this? There's absolutely legal issues with these companies being monopolies and, owning multiple different outlets, basically controlling the flow of information and banning them. And let's break up the monopolies. I agree with that 100%. But as for the actual arguments that are taking place right now, they're rooted in American ignorance. And that is the problem that we have to address.